U.S. Representative from West Virginia, Representative Riley Moore, co-founder and president of Patriot Mobile, Glenn Story, CEO of Morris Industries, Nate Morris, and your host from Newsmax, Bianca Televisa.
Thank you. How's it going, CPAC?
All right.
Well, we are so thrilled to be here, and I just had a little backstage convo with these guys. Patriots, entrepreneur, visionaries, and they are going to be so enlightening. So I'm pleased to be here. And I know we just heard all the introductions, but Congressman Moore, Glenn Story, the CEO of Patriot Mobile. If you don't have his cell service, we're gonna change you today on that. And Nate Morris, really incredible stories. So let's start a little bit with you, Congressman Riley Moore, because West Virginia is the 5th largest energy producer. And people were looking at what was going on, and you were the treasurer before you were in Congress, and way before it was popular, you actually took on BlackRock, you took on JP Morgan, you took on all these big banks and said you need to divest. You basically said you're fired. Tell us about the circle that was going on in your state that made no common sense.
Well, thank you very much. And yes, for us in West Virginia, it was really an existential threat for us to continue to deal with these financial institutions that had an ESG framework that was so harmful to our industries, coal, natural gas, and oil. And so what I did was start to talk to some of our coal producers, natural gas, and the like, and they were losing access to financing. They couldn't continue their operations because no one would bank them. They were essentially being debanked. And we had folks like BlackRock and the other big three that were moving investment away from these critical industries that just so happen to power the country and are also so important to the state of West Virginia. So in 2021, I sent letters to them warning them if they didn't stop this activity that we were going to divest out of them, and they ignored those warnings. And then in January of 2022, it's a little while ago now, I became the first elected official in the United States to divest our tax dollars out of BlackRock entirely. Thank you. And then we took it a step further and created what's called the Restricted Financial Institution List, which had said if you're boycotting the fossil fuel industry, you're going to lose the ability to be able to bid on any financial service contract in the state of West Virginia. And that's where we ended up putting a lot of other banks on that list, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan Chase, Citi, a whole bunch of other guys, and we had to tear up a lot of contracts, tens of millions of dollars.
We'll get back to that. And fortunately, you had the vision to do that. Nate, walk us through when you were in your early stages. You started your company on a credit card. You said with 10 grand, you took it public, $700 million, and you had to battle the woke, well, you called it like the Sopranos. I'll let you tell that.
Well, you know, first I want to say, you know, I'm Nate Morris. I'm a Kentuckian. I'm a 9th generation Kentuckian. I'm an entrepreneur, and I believe entrepreneurship is the cornerstone to our country. It's how jobs get created. And we had a big announcement today, this morning, come out of Kentucky. Mitch McConnell said he's retiring.
Woo! The little breaking news here.
So I don't know if anyone's heard that yet. And, you know, a lot of people have encouraged me to look at the seat. And I just want to speak as an entrepreneur. I'm an outsider. I'm a businessman. And I think we need more people coming from the outside to help President Trump with the America First agenda.
Yep.
And for conservatives, this is our opportunity to rip control that Mitch McConnell has had on the Republican Party and aspects of our party and taken us down this direction. And he has tried to purposely sabotage President Trump over and over and over again. This is our chance to get it back and give it back to the people.
Amen.
Well, I do think, obviously, the country is on a fortunate and trajectory with this election. We can all feel it as we're here, as we're walking in the halls, we're exchanging ideas. I wrote a book last year called Incoming, on the front lines of the left's war on truth, because what we saw was the Marxist professors indoctrinating kids, and then they'd go into these woke corporate boardrooms, and this was a circle that fortunately we've been able to break with this historic election. And I think we all look at Donald Trump as not just our president of this country, but also somebody, a visionary who will take us into an America in the golden age. And you know, your story, Glenn, is amazing. Patriot Mobile is based on Christian values. And that's something a lot of people, after we witnessed Butler, Pennsylvania, really are coming back to their faith in this country. And Patriot Mobile is based on that. And it's a very unique model, and you are thriving under that model.
Yeah, we absolutely are. And before I go there, I just want to say thank you to Matt and Mercy and the CPAC staff and leadership to do what you guys do, to bring the most important conservatives together and just raise each other up. But to answer your question, yeah, Patriot Mobile is a cell phone service provider. We carve out a portion of every bill and donate back to biblical causes. But what really separates Patriot Mobile is we're 100% US-based customer service. Our donation patterns along, yeah, it's a great thing. But most importantly, we put God first. He is at the helm of our business. Yeah. He's at the helm of our business. And when he's at the helm of your business, it just changes the landscape, right? You know you can't do wrong. And, you know, we live by these biblical principles, and we make these donation patterns back to organizations like Right to Life, military and first responders, First Amendment and Second Amendment. You look at those are really constitutional, biblically driven objectives, right, or initiatives. So
yeah. And when you are thriving, you can take that money and do good with it. And I mentioned, Nate, that you went public with your company, and after you had been dealing, tell us a little bit about what you saw. You said it was a very innovative company, but you had to deal with people you thought they were like the mob in Sopranos. You thought ESG, they came in, it was even worse.
Yeah, let me tell you, I thought I saw extortion in the waste business, like we did with Tony Soprano. The extortion I saw in the waste business is nothing compared to what ESG terrorists do to corporate leaders every day, forcing them into positions and threatening to bankrupt their company if they do not adhere to these bogus, crazy standards. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so compelled to look at getting into politics, because we, as corporate leaders, we have to fight. We have to fight this. One of the first things I did when I left my company was invest in Strive, Vivek Ramaswamy's anti-woke investment platform, to say we're going to stand up to this and we're going to fight back. And we're going to make sure that politics stays out of business and gets centered around merit and what the market should reward, period.
Great message.
You know, their ultimate goal is to silence us, right? That was their goal.
Good luck, right?
And we won't be silenced, right?
No. And I think that's part of the, you know, we look at J.D. Vance and Peter Thiel when they invested in Rumble. We look at Newsmax. We're soaring, and it's because Americans truly have woken up. But now there's a higher demand on our elected leaders. And fortunately, Donald Trump, Doge is making a lot of advances. Maybe we're all even going to get a rebate from what they're saving. But Congressman Moore, I know, I like that. You know what it's like being in politics and being in Congress now. People are going to be held accountable. He's talking about Mitch McConnell officially announcing, but their old guard has been put on notice. Can you talk about that, since you were at the forefront of sort of putting ESG and BlackRock on notice?
Well, yeah, and I'll tell you, I got a lot of calls when I first divested from BlackRock, which is 3 years ago now, and most of it was, Riley, you're an idiot. Why are you doing this? Why are you even messing with this? And ESG is such an existential threat, I mean, to our capitalist system here in America, as we were just hearing right now. It's an extortion racket. But look, this party now is the party of Donald Trump. That is very clear. It's an America First movement. That's where the Republican Party is going. And we got to make sure that we stay on that trajectory, right? And we've seen this time and time again, where we will have America First policies that go and die in the United States Senate. That happens all the time. You know, clearly I'm in for the one big beautiful bill in reconciliation, and so is President Donald Trump, because that's the way we're going to accomplish his agenda. But, you know, perhaps It looks like the Senate might be moving a piece of their legislation forward. We've got to be unified under the president and execute on his 77 million vote mandate that he has.
I agree. So that's how Washington works. And, you know, as a member of the national media and hearing the stories of rural Americans, some of them really did feel left behind. I mean, you have cell service. You look at the people ravaged by hurricanes, and FEMA wouldn't even help people with Trump signs. Starlink wanted to come in, and they said, well, if you don't have an address, they're like, these people lost their homes. It was almost at one point the government was weaponized. We were seeing it in real time against these poor people. And you had this really kind of amazing thing you said, and obviously you're very successful, but you said you know who your roots are. And when the left wants to laugh at conservative values, or they want to smear us, or they want to silence us, you have a beautiful message, Glenn, and I'd love for you to share it with this amazing crowd.
You know, what really happens when it boils down to, you got to stay with your roots, right? You know what you're doing, and if you let them silence you, they've won. And I always say, no, right? We're going to stand in the forefront. We're going to be bold in what we do, regardless if it's out there. You know, I'll digress momentarily. I was on a call with the party chair of Georgia, and I said, hey, dude, how's it going? And he goes, it's miserable. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, our hurricane east of 75 is destroyed. So Friday at 4 o'clock, I called a couple of our executive team, Scott Coburn, and I said, hey, look, we need to fill up a trailer. We've got a 26-foot trailer. We've got a 1-ton truck.
It's amazing.
Let's fill this thing up with generators, wipes, diapers, baby formula. You just go down the list. Here's the most amazing thing. I couldn't go. I had some family stuff to do, but a couple of our staff did. And what was amazing about this is they drove out. They were giving stuff out to people that needed it. They haven't had anything. And the law said you got to turn left, and our driver goes, no, we're going to go straight. So they went straight. Now, this is a grown man, a professional soccer player. A woman was standing on the side of the road, and so he says, let's pull over. And they got out of the car, and Ethan's sitting down there somewhere. They got out of the car, and she goes, you know what? The only thing I need is diapers and wipes. I just said, Lord, please deliver. So they pull over, and you know what? We had crates and diapers and wipes. And this is a grown man, just starts weeping. He was like, you know, what else? That's what we're commanded to do, to believe in our...
And you know, it's not easy. You know, we have an elected member of Congress, 2 entrepreneurs and CEOs. When I brought you out, I said you're patriots. But we also, I think your stories are so important because other people in this audience are looking and saying, how can I do this? How can I involve? And there is obviously tremendous opportunity for American exceptionalism, again, under this president now. You're thinking about possibly getting into the race, but we know that you build companies. What do you just say to folks? We're on a live stream here. You have, you know, thousands of people watching. You know, they want to know how I get a credit card loan and start a company and be like you and do that in today's climate where we have the winds of change at our back.
Absolutely. Look, I was raised by a single mother. 19 of my family members worked in an auto plant in Kentucky. My grandparents helped raise me. And I think that one of the things my mother always said, you know, we may not have a lot of money, but it's free to think big, and you should think big. You're going to be thinking anyway, so you might as well be thinking big. And I think we got to get back to that and be the country of dreamers again. And I think Donald Trump has got people in America to get hopeful and get those dreams in action. And that's one of the reasons why I'm looking at this seat. I feel like as somebody I owe so much to my teachers, my pastors, coaches, people have helped me. I got to do something. And, you know, right now we've got 2 candidates that are looking at this race that are puppets of Mitch McConnell.
Right.
And we can't have that.
Well, when it comes to ESG, BlackRock, they've been put on notice, Congressman Moore, and you come up from a family of politicians as well, so you know it's a tough business. DC's a tough town. Tell us about some of the things that you're working on now that are future forward. I know there's something to do with protecting gun owners' rights, because you can't just stop it when it comes to BlackRock. You know, there's a lot of things that are going on, and you're really kind of clue us into what you're doing.
Yeah, so we dealt with this on the state level in West Virginia. It's called the Merchant Category Code. Maybe some of you have heard of this, but the credit card companies have put this in place to be able to track the purchase of your guns and ammunition in the United States of America. Now, we had put in an ability and a right to sue, cause of action in West Virginia if they shared your data. But I have a bill right now, and I do believe we're going to get action on it, in the United States House of Representatives to ban the Merchant Category Code on guns and ammunition. Thank you. Now, this is a little bit off the ESG topic, but this is, I just wrote an op-ed about this, and I'd encourage you to take a look at it because it's a huge national security issue, and I am looking at legislation on this. There are currently, in the United States, there are 300,000 Chinese nationals on student visas in our country. And I'm looking to ban all student visas from China moving forward.
Amen. Amen.
Glenn, tell us about why you are the best choice, the alternative, because, you know, you're up against the big guys. It's never deterred you. You said your sales, every time they come after you, you kind of soar. But a lot of people would have been maybe not up for the task to go up against the big guys and all the big cellular companies.
Yeah, you know what, I would just say, we're not really up against them. We really aren't. You know, we're the only carrier out there. I won't get into the technical side, but we buy wholesale from all the major networks. We repackage it and sell it retail. And the real beauty of that is we provide a service, and I think it's better. Not only is our coverage better because we have all the networks, but look, we put him first. And when you put him first, what can you do? And then the real hook is when you call into our offices, you know, we have an office in East Texas and in the Valley in California. You either talk with a redneck like me, or you talk with a Californian. And that's the real part. But then above that, it's not uncommon that we'll pray with you on the phone. And it happens all the time. We have a booth downstairs. Wow. I'll shamelessly plug Patriot Mobile. Come down. I think we've got promo code CPAC. You get a free month of service. But most importantly, you're going to be working with companies that love and honor their creator. Yeah. And I'm going to just say this. When you do that, it's so much better. You know you're not supporting organizations that are contrary to your values.
Right.
I mean, I know we have Patriot Mobile customers out there. I'm looking at two waving and a couple of Hey, everybody in here should be a Patriot Mobile customer.
Can you hear him now?
Hey, that's a good hint, right?
You said you were part of Strive,
Love it.
Nate, and so tell us in the future of, you know, do you think that ESG is dead? Is it all done for now? Or do we have to be vigilant? Because, you know, corporate greed and others that don't have the intention, a pure of heart, which I'm hearing from all of you here on the stage.
Yeah, look, elections have consequences.
Amen.
And we have to have leaders that are going to fight to keep this nonsense and garbage out of our corporate system and out of our economy. It has no place. And I think, you know, we just had, we had an awful thing happen yesterday. Our governor, a Democratic governor, allowed KFC to move out of Kentucky.
So I read about that. Yeah, I read about that.
And how does that happen? And this goes back to, we've got to elect America first, patriots that are not beholden and on a bended knee to Mitch McConnell or anyone else, but they're going to fight with President Trump and to keep this nonsense out of our politics, period.
I just have a few moments left. That's pressure, and you're right there in the thick of it, AKA they call it the swamp, and they don't say that without reason.
Yeah, well, and to your previous question, I'm sure there's somebody sitting out here right now, and I want this to be kind of hopefully core memory at some point. Each and every one of you should consider running for office. All of you should think about doing this.
Love it.
I'm serious, because this is not, the seat I'm sitting in is not my seat. It belongs to the people of West Virginia, and they've hired me for 2 years to do it.
Wow.
Any of you can do these jobs. You can stand up, go run. State-level politics is awesome. You can get a lot more done there than you can sometimes at the federal level. Please, I encourage everybody to take a look at office.
I told you you'd be impressed, right? Congressman Riley Moore, Glenn Story, CEO Patriot Mobile, Nate Morris, and who knows what type of political future we'll be seeing from you. And
I like this guy back here.
I'm doing my show live here over at our booth at Newsmax, so come by and say hi. I'm Bianca Della Garza. An honor and a blessing to be with all of you great patriots today. Amen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. God bless.
Still under construction, but already the biggest news station in Poland. The only international TV station that interviewed Donald J. Trump.
I'd like to say hello to the Polish people.
Poland's leftist government wants to destroy us, but we are not backing down. We're building conservative, English-speaking European news station. Join the movement. Support the revolution.
Make Europe great again.
This is Republica, the home of free speech.
The steal was stopped on Election Day, I think in no small part thanks to Judicial Watch's heavy lifting. In just the last year and a half or two, we've cleaned up 4 million dirty names from the rolls. We also got that huge Fifth Circuit ruling that found counting ballots received after Election Day is unlawful. You can be sure that all helped ensure cleaner elections on Election Day, but there's more work to be done, so be sure to support Judicial Watch's election integrity work.
Hey, we have a great group of sponsors down at CPAC Central. Make sure you go down.